Hi guys, it's Nancy here and I'm back with another process video for you, and this time I'm using a bit of newer stash. When I saw this piece of paper I knew that I had to have it because it was covered in socks. If you've watched my video where I showed my 2017 mini album that I made, I talked about one of my goals, and one of my goals was to learn how to knit socks. Late in 2016 I actually taught myself to knit. I'm a prolific crocheter and can crochet loads, but can never knit, and I've always wanted to knit because of knitting socks, and I'd seen so many cool people knitting socks. So I actually set myself the challenge in January to learn to do it, and so I wanted to just talk about that. I think currently I have made 9 pairs of socks, I think, and I love it. It's a great on-the-go knit. I'm really enjoying it. So I put this piece of paper, which is from the My Heart collection. I do have the paper pad, which comes really cool with some of these die cut pieces. And the really annoying thing is I brought the collection pack and I really wanted this piece of paper and it wasn't in there. So I had to buy it separate. So I got this sock piece of paper. I'm going to be using one of the die cuts from this, and I'm going to be using this piece of paper from the collection pack as well, just to mount that on. I end up mixing it in with some of the Simple Stories. What was it? I can't think what the collection was called. Carpe Diem? I think maybe? I can't remember. But yeah, so I'm going to use some of that as well. So all I'm doing here is just cutting some pieces from this sort of weird pie chart paper, and just going to use that to mount into that die cut. I love this super busy background, but it did give me a little bit of a problem because I did that thing where I was mixing cream cardstock and white, and unless I'm doing it consciously, which I wasn't when I started doing this, that it caused me a bit of trouble. But you'll see me kind of persevere, and actually this is a layout which is pretty rare for me because I put a non-finished page away. I started doing it one day and it wasn't gelling with me, so I actually stopped doing it, and that's very rare for me to not just make a page. So yeah, I actually stopped doing it, so then you'll see after a bit that the video lighting changes because it's a different day. And I didn't really think about it much. I just kind of then went to it anew and decided that I needed to just make a page how I like making pages. Super sorry I could have cut some of this out. I'm trying to kind of keep my editing to a minimum in my videos just because it does extend the processing time. And I thought, well, normally I can waffle on anyway, but yeah, I probably could have edited some of this out, so I do apologise. So what I did is I backed that die cut there. I mean, I think it's fab that that paper pad comes with the die cuts. I just think it's, you know, one of those options. You know, die cuts are so in at the moment, and if you don't have a die cut machine, then it really, you know, can make a huge difference. So I've mounted those little sock pictures up using like a photo, what are they called? Photo strip method, and I really like how it looked. I'm going through the my papers here. I've pulled out some frames. I'm just kind of having a play, seeing what I want to do. Even though it's a white based paper, the sock illustrations are quite muted in their tone, so that's why I was kind of having a bit of an issue just playing around with the different layers. And actually none of these frames or anything comes to fruition on here. I end up cutting up that die cut piece as well. So I want to use that heart. I cut that from one of the cut apart sheets from Simple Stories. It is like a peach with gold, which works well. And I'm just cutting out another card here. And again, this is the card that really kind of throws it. I was debating on like cutting this whole bit out, but I thought, no, I'll show you my process and how I struggled with it, because, you know, sometimes you have like this paper. I knew what I wanted to document socks on this paper. I knew what I would do, and I think that then just stifled me because I knew what I wanted to do and it just wouldn't kind of work. So I'm going to play about here, and then that's when I went, nope, I'm just going to stop. So I did edit a little bit out there. So when I came to it afresh, I pulled out this stencil, which is a Stampin' Up stencil. And I'm just using a bit of pink paint, and I'm just using a palette knife to put that over. I hadn't cleaned my stencil completely, so of course some colours rubbing off on it. It's not too bad because it kind of ended up going a little bit of an orange colour, so it didn't ruin the layout, but I really need to be better at cleaning my stencils and things, but you know, life's just far too short. Saying that though, you will see me in this video now taking time to clean my stencil. Because also this was a paint, I wanted to make sure that I did clean it off, just using a wet wipe to clean that off, because I wanted to make sure that it didn't stick and cause me issues. I pulled out my Highly Swap mat there to just rub it on because it's sort of easier. I love that mat, but it doesn't unfortunately fit on my desk. You will note that I have actually turned the piece of foam board over on my desk, so it's not so messy. I was gonna chuck it out, but I thought, oh no, the other side's alright. So I've just had to cover up with that silver tape where I'd glued it. I'd used some double-sided tape to stick it to the top of my table. So that's why there's a bit of silver on there, but it also kind of centres where I do my video as well, so that's helpful in a way. I'm slightly more zoomed in on this one as well because I don't have my best tripod here. I had to take it to work for a reason, so that's why I'm a little bit more zoomed in than I normally am. So back to my layout. Oh, you'll see I've also found my heat gun. It's all quite exciting. Anyway, I've added some mists on here as well, some white and gold and a little bit of teal, and I'm just drying off that paint as well. So I feel much better now that there's a little bit of there on the background because it was troubling me slightly. So now I know what I'm doing. Oh yes, I then decide actually I might want to cut out a few socks. I ended up only using one of these, I think. But I really could have done that beforehand. But I ended up just taking my craft knife and hacking that layout up. So I pulled out this piece of paper here, which is actually from the Brighton Pier collection. And it's an older piece, and I kind of quite like the fact that it had numbers on, because one, it was a resolution, so I thought the numbers kind of went with the list that I wrote. It also is to show the number of socks that I'd made, so it kind of went in that way. Oh yeah, I really like how it turned out. So I'm going to trim that 4x6 card down as well, which helps me just even out those layouts and the layers. As you see, I chopped up that die cut card as well, and I'm actually going to end up covering up most of the purple and stuff that I put in there, but it's okay. So I've got this heart that I die cut, and then this ticket that says wonderful. I'm not sure what die cut pack that came from because some of my die cuts are quite mixed up. That currently is a die cut from a Becky Higgins Project Life die cut pack. And so I've cut those socks out. I'm trying to work out what one I want to put on there. You know, it's kind of like, did I want more? Then I didn't, and the socks were pointing the wrong way, and oh, it was just all far too traumatic. I keep pulling out there, you'll see that crafty, the planner one, which was Reset Girl. I really like the collection, but I just really couldn't get it to work. I pulled out this piece of paper, which was from the Target American Crafts paper pad that I have, but that didn't work. So I'm still kind of fussing along. I decided to add these two buttons. That's from Paige Evans as well. Her last collection, Take Me Away, was it? Yeah, I think it was Take Me Away. So I'm going to add those in, and then that tones picks up the colours as well. So I'm just going to put those sock down there, so I'll just fussy cut those out as well. And but I said only one of them ends up making it out on the layout. So now I'm just kind of thinking, what can I do? Do I want to add anything else? Do I not? I've got these gold glittery frames. They've been in my stash for a long, long time. And I'm just going to add those. Just to add a little bit of sparkle. I was actually talking about them with some crafty friends recently, that they're one of those things that you look at and maybe think they're a bit naff, or that they're for card making, but they are fab for layers. They really are. So I'm just playing with that top cluster, and the sock wasn't working, and so I'm like, nope, that sock has to be gone, after moving it around 57 places on the layout. So I'm super happy how that little cluster ends up turning out, and how that bottom one comes out as well. I know I want to put quite a large title on this layout as well, so I've left a lot of room there at the top, which looks a bit empty at the moment, to actually add my title. So I've just added that little heart embellishment at the top. It's just going to bring up some peach and gold to that top cluster. Those green and peach buttons again pick up the tones that are in the socks in the background, as well as that Simple Stories piece of paper. So I really love how this came out, and I've just stuck another little gold one up there to stick that button in. I find that doing these small scale photos, you know, just I don't want massive just layout with a picture of socks on, but yeah, I love how they look. I think after about my 8th pair I actually have a good fit of a sock now, but yeah, I really enjoyed making them actually. So, and I'm enjoying documenting my other crafts in my scrapbooking, and I must say my mojo is really back right now, and it's making me super happy, because my mojo had done a runner for a bit, but I'm so glad it's back, and I'm feeling like super inspired. So I have now picked this alpha out. It's a gold and white alpha, and I'm going to put my very large title on, which is SockTacular, because it is SockTacular that I have achieved my aim of learning to make socks. I'm going to have a little space to do some journaling on that little beige box there, on that journaling card. I could probably do some journaling in the back, on the background as well, if I use a kind of thicker black pen. I'm going to go back and journal on my layouts, as I do always. Wait till I've got about 9 or 10 or 50, and then journal on them. Just use my wet glue to stick those down, because we all know how unsticky thickers are, especially these days. They seem to be getting a bit worse. So I'm going to mount this whole layout up on this piece of pink cardstock, and then I'm just going to stitch my buttons on, and I'm just going to use a bit of pink thread to stitch those on. And I'm really loving adding buttons to my layouts at the moment. You've probably realised that as well. So I want to apologise that this video is a little bit out of focus in the way that it's not all on show. I will put a photo towards the end if I remember, so you can see the whole layout. But I really enjoyed actually documenting this hobby, this this side of the knitting, what I've really enjoyed, and I'm so happy I got to use this paper. I'm on a little bit of a themed paper kick at the moment as well. So thank you very much guys for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to speak to you all again very soon. Bye!